Your doctor told you your ejection fraction is 35%, and you nodded. Maybe you even said, okay, with some confidence. But if you're honest with yourself, you had no real idea what that number meant for your actual life. Is 35% bad? It sounds bad. It sounds bad. Is it dangerous? Is it something you can improve? Or is it just a fact about my heart now? Permanently? You are absolutely not alone in that. Ejection fraction is one of the most commonly quoted numbers in heart failure and one of the least well explained. Let's fix that. I'm Dr. Jodie Ann Senior, a cardiologist and heart failure specialist. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what ejection fraction measures, what your specific number means, why it's not a school grade, and the one thing that I want you to do today so that you always have this information at your fingertips going forward. Here's the mistake almost every patient makes with this number, and it's completely understandable. We are conditioned from school onwards to think of percentages as grades. 90% is excellent, 50% is a fail. So when a patient hears your ejection fraction is 35%, the instinctive reaction is to think, I'm failing. My heart is failing, it's barely working. This is catastrophic. That mental model is wrong and it causes a huge amount of unnecessary fear. Ejection fraction isn't a grade on how well your heart is functioning overall, and it's not out of 100%. 100% is not the normal. It's a specific, narrow measurement of one particular thing your heart does. And once you understand exactly what that one thing is, the number stops being quite so frightening and starts being more useful. Let me explain it properly. Think of your heart's main pumping chamber, the left ventricle, like a cup that never completely empties. With every heartbeat, that cup fills up with blood and then it squeezes to push some of that blood out to the rest of your body. It doesn't push out everything in the cup. It never does, even in a completely healthy heart. Some blood always remains behind, ready for the next fill. In fact, normal is about 55 to 65%. This means that a bit over half to 2/3 of the blood volume in the chamber is moved forwards in your heart each squeeze. Ejection fraction is simply the percentage of the blood in that cup that gets pushed out with each squeeze. So if your ejection fraction is 35%, it means that with each heartbeat, your heart is pushing out 35% of the blood sitting in that chamber and keeping the remaining 65% behind until the next beat. A normal healthy heart typically pushes out that somewhere between 55 and 65, perhaps even 70% with each beat. Your heart at 35% is doing the same fundamental job as a healthy heart, filling, squeezing, pushing blood around your body over and over all day, every day. It's just doing that job with a smaller percentage of ejection each beat, which means it often needs to work a bit harder or a bit faster to deliver the blood your body needs. Now, let's put your specific number in context. A normal ejection fraction roughly around that 55 to 65%. A borderline or mildly reduced ejection fraction sits at around 41 to 54%. And a reduced ejection fraction, sometimes written as HFrEF, which simply stands for heart failure with reduced ejection fraction, is at 40% or below. So at 35%, you fall into that reduced category. And here's the genuinely important thing I want you to hear clearly. This is a category where modern heart failure treatment has the most robust, most proven evidence behind it. The 4 pillars of guideline-directed medical therapy that I've talked about in previous videos, the medication that blocks the harmful hormones, protects against the adrenaline overload, managing fluid at a hormonal level, and protects your heart and kidneys, all of them have their strongest, clearest evidence specifically in patients with a reduced ejection fraction like yours. You are, in a very real sense, in the group of patients where treatment works best and has been studied most thoroughly. And here's something I want to say directly because it matters enormously and it doesn't get said often enough. Ejection fraction is not fixed. It is not a permanent life sentence at 35%. For many patients with consistent use of the 4 pillars of therapy, ejection fraction may improve over time, sometimes significantly. And I've seen patients move from a reduced ejection fraction into the normal range with sustained treatment. This is well documented in the medical literature, and it happens more often than most patients are told to expect. And this is exactly why taking your medications consistently matters so much, even when you don't feel an immediate difference. Your ejection fraction today is a snapshot, not a verdict. It's the starting point for tracking your progress, not the ceiling on what's possible. And here's the one thing I want you to do today. Write your ejection fraction number down along with today's date. Somewhere you'll actually find it again. A note on your phone, a line in your notebook, wherever it works for you. Why does this matter? Because ejection fraction is measured against future echocardiograms, and the single most useful piece of information that you can have at that next appointment is your own personal baseline to compare it against. Is it staying the same? Is it improving? That trend, tracked over time, tells us a far more meaningful story than any single number in isolation. Your ejection fraction is not a grade on how well you're doing as a person, or even necessarily on how well you are right now. It's one specific measurement in one specific category that tells your care team exactly which treatments give you the best chance of the outcome you actually want, which is feeling better, staying out of hospital, and yes, potentially watching that number improve over time. My free heart failure stage guide includes a full ejection fraction quick reference and a spot to record your own number, so you always have this information ready for your next appointment. It's linked in the description below. Subscribe for a new video every week, all designed to give you the clarity that your appointment did not.